The sun sets a velvet shadow, crimson in the sky. Craters turn into canyons, and mountains stretch high. Stars are sparks of silver, an echo in the night. Someone's holding their hand out, someone else is reaching to hold it tight. There is you, there is me. I might be the daughter of the sun, you might sail the seven seas. It's not the rituals we believe in, but that we all believe. We can make a world that works for everyone, because life is a golden miracle. One breath that we all breathe. I can feel the power of the ocean, the passion in the wind. We each have our own road to travel, meeting in the middle as friends. I see the beauty in your way. Can you celebrate mine? A kaleidoscope, a fusion of color. Let that light shine, shine down on you all, shine on me. I might be the mist in the midnight, you're the thunder rolling free. You know it's the good that we all reach for. That's the unity. We can really, I swear, make a world that works for everyone when we remember that it's one breath that we all breathe. You know it's the good we all reach for. That's the unity. Life is a golden miracle, talking about one breath that we all breathe. Ooh,
Please join me in prayer. We're so pleased to come together to celebrate ancestral wisdom, and to talk about cause and effect, to talk about this divine connection that we have to the one perfect life that is God, perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance, this power that becomes what it loves, which is each and every one of us. Everyone within the sound of my voice, everyone here in the city of Aurora, state of Colorado, United States, planet Earth, everywhere in the universe, all beautiful light beings are an expression of the divine. And we give thanks for this ability to use this law to the extent that we believe and trust in this power, to co-create with the divine lives that work for everyone and lives that work for one another as we express to the fullest of our ability, each according to their gifts. I know that everything that takes place here today will be absolutely perfect in every way, and give thanks for that here and now, and for every expression of the divine here in this space with me and within the sound of my voice. I release these words into that divine law that knows how to mold, make, shape, and create all the good there is, everywhere, all the time. I let this go, I let it be, and together we anchor it by saying, and so it is. Well, we've got quite the treat, because young Dr. David is going to explain to us how this infinite and immutable law works on our behalf. He knows stuff, and I'm looking forward to listening to what he has to say. But I'm going to tee us up with words from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, who definitely knew stuff that is relevant to us today. And our first quote says, cause and effects are but two sides of thought, and spirit, being all, is both cause and effect. Prayer, then, is its own answer. Our second quote, how are we going to reconcile suffering and lack with the goodness of God? The difficulty is solved when we realize that all creation is an effect. In our third quote, and he certainly got more, but we don't have all day, and you'd rather listen to young Dr. David than me. So his third quote says that experience has taught us that the subjective tendency of this intelligent law of creative force may be consciously directed and definitely used. This is the greatest discovery of our time.
Well, good afternoon, New Dawn. So good to be with you. How's everybody doing? Really? That's all right. Life is good. All is well. I'm well. Yes, and I'm really excited, as Mickey shared, the relaunch of our children's program. Oh my gosh. Recognizing we're all young at heart. So if you would please, if you're planning to join us, just, we know that things change, but if you're planning to join us in a couple of weeks on Sunday, February 1st, right after service, please do not raise your hand. Okay, good. We look forward to seeing everybody. That's awesome. We love your thoughts. We love your ideas. We love your energy. You know what we know, my friends, there's no wrong and there's no bad. So if you have one thing that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. If you come with a fully blown plan, we will bow in your direction. So however you want to share it, whatever you want to share with us, we really look forward to having that conversation. And as Russell shared, we're continuing our series on ancestral wisdom and new thought. It's our take on back to basics, yeah? We're looking at what we know, the wisdom through the ages, what Ernest Holmes, what the Fillmores, what Emma Curtis Hopkins, what all of the New Thought sages knew and captured for us and chose to share with us. Every time I step into this beautiful building, I am reminded what Ernest Holmes said, so many years ago, when people kept saying, well, this is really good stuff. We love the material. We love what you're talking about. It's important. It resonates with so many people. We need to hear it more frequently. And our beloved Dr. Ernest Holmes said, the last thing the world needs is another church. And here we are. We plan, God laughs. So today we're looking at cause and effect. I so appreciate the realm and the world of science. It is not where I live a lot. It is not how my brain works, and I'm grateful that that calls and speaks to so many people. And I love the thought, when we're talking about cause and effect, that every action requires an equal and opposite reaction, right? So sometimes we're surprised when we do something and something comes back that looks a little different than we anticipated. And like all of the laws we continue to talk about, that is the law of cause and effect. Everything requires an equal and opposite reaction. So the affirmation we're working with today is, I am creating a world that works for every living thing, for every sentient being. So I'm reminded of the story of the community garden. If any of you are gardening at home or if you've participated in community gardens, in this particular community garden, there were 3 raised flower beds. And the first one, honestly, was completely neglected. For whatever reason, people didn't see it, they didn't use it, they didn't plant anything, they didn't weed it, they didn't water it. It was just kind of there. The second one, the opposite end of that energetic spectrum, people planted flowers, they planted vegetables, they watered it. There was a regular schedule of care for weeding and for pruning and for caring for everything that was in that particular raised flower bed. And the third one, the third flower bed, had some pretty aggressive gardener types. Not that there would be any in this room, but they planted stuff and they harvested stuff and they planted again and they maintained a great energy, and it was some might say a little excessive, and it worked for those who were working that particular flower bed. And so come back a year later, and what do we see? Well, the first one continued to be completely fallow. It looked dead, it looked tired, there was no life, there was no energy, still nobody taking care of it, it just was. The second one continued to be healthy and continued to be vibrant and gave and received love, right? What did we talk about last week? Being in the flow. And the third one, the one that perhaps was overplanted and overharvested, it too was doing really well. So, what is the metaphysical message in that for us? You can see the difference across the fence, right? That the worst looking bed is the one that has no energy. It's not the one that has good energy, or it's not the one that has too much energy. It's the one that has no energy. So it is neglected. It's the neglected one. It is the overgrown, the tangled, the lifeless. The thriving beds are the ones that had relationship. Life, it turns out, doesn't want to be ignored. It wants to be participated with. And that is not just gardening. That is metaphysics. We shared with you when Rick and I had to say goodbye to our beloved 14-year-old four-legged early in November. And what we know is another four-legged is finding its way to us. That we could choose to be monastic, for lack of a better term. We could choose to shut down and be in our grief. And we can choose to continue to participate in life and offer a new home to one or more little ones, right? To continue to engage. Just as the dogs are pack animals, our dear friend and dog behaviorist who brought us our first dog, she and her husband have 10 dogs at their home in their pack, and they're really clear that dogs are pack animals, and they're equally clear that humans are also pack animals. So how are you maintaining your tribe? How are you reaching out to your pack? What does that look like and feel like to you? So my friends, as it turns out, life doesn't want to be ignored. It wants to be participated with. So let's anchor this together. When I say the law is always working, you say, and I am a part of it. The law is always working.
And I am a part of it.
The law is always working.
And I am a part of it.
The law is always working.
And I am a part of it.
Yes. So that is the truth. You are not a spectator. You are a participant in the creation and then the co-creation with the divine of your understanding, her or him or them or they or it. You are co-creating the life of your dreams with your interpretation of the divine. Ernest Holmes tells us, infinite and immutable as the law is, it must flow through us in order to manifest for us. Does that make sense? In other words, my friends, you are a divine conduit. Your interpretation of the divine works through you and expresses as you, right? It's got to come through you to manifest for you. Life does not happen to us. It happens through us. And just like those garden beds, whatever we tend to in our consciousness grows. Whatever we ignore becomes tangled and weak. So what is getting your attention? What are you focusing on? What is the beautiful flower bed that is your life? What is getting your attention and what is getting your intention? Thought is cause. Experience is effect. So think about your body. If you never move it, you never stretch it, you never use it, it doesn't become stronger. It becomes weaker, right? You get a little more stiff. I'm reminded of the television ad that says, a body at rest tends to stay at rest. And so that is the job of all of us, to move to whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like for us. Or think about a friendship, or think about a relationship. If you never call, if you never text, if you never show up, if you never drop in, it doesn't remain neutral. It fades, it shifts, it goes away. Life thrives on engagement. Spirit responds to participation. Years ago, when my late partner passed away, I stayed in our house in Evergreen for a year, and then I sold it. It was just too big. It was too much for me. So I moved from Evergreen to a townhome in Belmar, and I loved my townhome. It was 4 levels. It was very kind of thin and narrow and 4 levels high. I called it my Buns of Steel program with all those stairs. But I really liked it. And I had a dear friend who was very involved and engaged with CSL through Mile High Church, as well as at the national and international levels. And when Eileen first came to my house, she was looking around and she had an eye on staff meetings and volunteer meetings and church minister meetings, because it was only a half a mile from Mile High. And she said, "Oh, David, I love your house. It's going to be awesome. I can pop by at any time." And I said, "I love you, Eileen, I love you with my whole heart, and there will be no popping." So boundaries and borders, my friends, are good. So let's look at divine co-creation. This is not new information for you. Perhaps this is a little bit more context to plug into what you already know to be true. Science of mind teaches that every thought is a creative impulse. You're always planting something in consciousness at all times. You're planting hope or you're planting fear. You're planting love or you're planting resentment. You're planting trust or you're planting doubt. Prayer and meditation and gratitude are how we garden our mind, right? Back to the analogy that so many of us are familiar with in science of mind: seed, soil, plant. It's our explanation of the triune nature. Christianity uses Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. We bring it literally and metaphorically a little bit more down to earth. We say seed, soil, plant. Everything is that creative impulse. What you water grows, and what you ignore weakens. So I'm reminded of the children's song that speaks to this exact point. It's the Garden Song by Dave Mallet. And it says, "Inch by inch, row by row, I'm gonna make this garden grow. All you need is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground." This is why I don't sing. "Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down." And that's what we know to be true. Inch by inch, row by row, seed by seed, moment by moment. What we pay attention to, what we literally and metaphorically water, grows. Something for us to think about. So we talk about co-creation. And what we as metaphysicians add to that equation is respectful co-creation with the world. So our monthly theme invites us to bring ancient wisdom into modern spirituality. And today we might not be gathering herbs and seeds, but we are consuming energy, we're consuming water, we're consuming food, and we're offering these things our attention every day, consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously. And how we use them matters. When we move through life mindlessly, things break down. When we move through life gratefully, systems thrive. We see it in families, we see it in our children, in our grandchildren, in our great-grandchildren. We see it in our neighborhoods, we see it in our environment. Care creates continuity. And that is one of the many things that this community is so good at. Respect creates resilience. And again, I offer my thanks to Sweet Mickey for bringing forward this opportunity to support this community with a Super Bowl party, right? And at first blush, it's like, meh, for some folks. Football, and P.S., why do I want to help somebody else have a party? And what we see, and the reason we got the invitation, is because this is about building community. It's not about a football game. It's allowing these individuals who are rebuilding their lives to come together in community, to be able to enjoy maybe a snack, maybe a meal, whatever that looks like and feels like. So that is how we are helping create community. That is how we are helping to build respect within those individuals and within that community. So the third point I would share with you is in our creation and in our co-creation, we are interested in not only creating a world that's awesome for me, yay me, we're also interested in creating a world that works for everyone. What did we lead with? What did we start off with? Every sentient being, right? And that's a big responsibility. And the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. So that's what we're thinking about. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind never stopped at, I get what I want. It points us toward collective good. The global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living says, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. Interconnectedness of all life. A world that works for me, but not you, is not so spiritual. A world that works for humans, but not the planet, is not sustainable. We are here to create something better together. As I was working with that thought of a world that works for everyone, I was called to the work of Sharif Abdullah in his book by the same name, Creating a World That Works for All. I worked with Sharif years ago, around the turn of the century. Oh my gosh, how old am I? And he's based in Portland, Oregon, and he was in town and we were doing some work with him. We created an event called the Commons Cafe. And the thought was bringing people together from all walks of life to simply share ideas, right? It's less likely, it's harder for me to hate you if I know your name, right? I may not love and adore you and appreciate everything about you, but if I know something about you, maybe it'll take me a moment longer to get to hatred, yeah? So we created this Commons Cafe. We had about 150 people in conversation at the University of Denver, and it was a fairly costly affair, to be honest. You know, with the speakers in the room, and anybody who's ever done events knows how those costs run up, and the meals, and taking care of our guests, and taking care of our speakers. And we had scholarships for people of any age who wouldn't be able to participate otherwise, right? If the financing was a burden. So we invited everybody into that conversation, and I got to know Sharif personally. And I so love and appreciate him as a human and the work that he's doing in the world. If you may not be familiar with him, his work invites us to move beyond fixing isolated problems and instead address the underlying patterns of thinking that shape the world. In his book, A World That Works for Everyone, he argues that lasting change doesn't come from better policy alone, but from challenging, transforming the assumptions, the values, and the arguments that govern how we live together. And one of the things that I so appreciate is this aligns so beautifully with Science of Mind, when we teach that the outer world is a reflection of the inner consciousness. If we want a world that truly works for everyone, we must begin by changing the mental models, the beliefs about power, about worth, about separation that quietly run our lives. A central insight in Sharif's work is that systems, listen to this, systems behave exactly as they were designed to behave, even when the outcomes are unjust or perhaps harmful. It mirrors Ernest Holmes' teaching that the law is neutral and impersonal, right? Back to seed, soil, plant. The law, the soil, is unbiased. You plant something in the soil, whatever you plant, you're going to get. You plant rutabagas, you'll get rutabagas. You plant petunias, you're not going to get orchids. Yeah? So it is unbiased in that regard. The law is neutral. It produces results according to the consciousness impressed upon it. When our collective thinking is rooted in fear, in scarcity, or in us versus them, the world reliably demonstrates those assumptions. We reap what we sow. Sharif calls us to consciously design systems grounded in shared humanity, in dignity, and in mutual benefit. In Science of Mind, we say when we change the cause of consciousness, the effect in form must change as well. Bringing that down to a level that I can understand, when we change our thinking, we change our lives. That is what we know to be true. So ultimately, a world that works for everyone, it's not a political slogan, it's not a bumper sticker, it's a spiritual mandate. Sharif reminds us that inclusion is not about adding people to a broken system, but about reimagining the system itself for a deeper awareness of unity. Again, pure science of mind. There is one life expressing as all people, all cultures, all conditions. When we hold that truth, not as an abstraction, but as a lived conviction, we participate in the co-creation of a world that works not just for some, but for all. And that, at its core, is spiritual practice in action. That is our work toward creating a world that works for everyone. So what does that look like for us here? Where does the rubber meet the road? How do we put that into action? So we practice this truth in our community in at least 3 ways. We pray with clarity, not just hope. We intentionally plant thoughts of peace, justice, and compassion. Creating a world that works for all is always top of mind for us. We live in relationship with one another, with the earth, and with spirit. Nothing here, and certainly no one here, is disposable. And we choose the collective good. Every class, every service, every meeting, every ministry asks, does this bless the whole? Because again, you've heard me say from this podium before, what we know is what is in the highest and best for one must be in the highest and best for all. So when we create our children's program, and beautiful Sarah is the first one through the door, if she is happy, if she is joy-filled, if she is connected to her interpretation of the divine, it must be good for all of us, you see. What is in the highest and best for one must be in the highest and best for all. So my homework for you, beloveds, your invitation this week is to try this simple spiritual discipline. Once a day, before you take something, anything, a meal, a resource, a moment of someone's time, pause and silently say to yourself, I receive this with gratitude and I give back with care. I receive this with gratitude, and I give back with care. And indeed, my friends, we are creating a world that works for every living thing. If you would please join me in prayer as our practitioners stand and join me in consciousness. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is love. That life is my life and your life now. This one life is vast and loving, moving through all beings, all systems, all relationship. This life is creative, responsive, and wise. It is the law that receives every thought and returns it as experience. I affirm now that we at New Dawn are conscious partners with this life. Our thoughts are kind, our choices mindful, our prayers bless the whole. May every word we speak, every action we take, every dream we plant serve not just ourselves, but all of life. It is in this time, in this space, that I am so humbled, knowing that every word spoken, every note sung is indeed a prayer that was answered before it was spoken or sung. So I release the power, the energy of this service, the consciousness of every being present into the divine law, knowing that it is good, it is whole, it is perfect, it is complete, it is absolutely done in the mind of God. I release, I let go, I simply allow it to be. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are.
This is a song that I always want other people to sing. Today I'm going to sing it for you, and maybe toward the end we'll share it, okay? So let it grow and live inside you and become the real thing. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heart beat. Stand up on your feet. Listen to that sound. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heart beat. When you really feel and listen, God is all around. You can hear it in the rhythm of the rain, in the wind when it whispers your name. Did you ever wonder when you heard mighty thunder? It's all our hearts, and they're all beating the same. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heartbeat. Do you remember this? Stand up on your feet. Listen to the sound. Right. Again. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heartbeat when you really feel. When you really feel and listen. Who's here? God is all around. You betcha. When you feel like giving up, don't give in. Reach on down, reach deep within, and always remember, you and I are all in this together, and that's why I'm gonna sing it. If you wanna sing it, we're gonna sing it again. Sing, stand up on your feet. You can feel your heartbeat. Hey, sing again. Stand up on your feet. Listen to the sound. Listen to that sound. You got it going on. Stand up on your feet. Listen to your heartbeat. Yes. When you really feel and listen, God is all around. I'll help you in just a minute. Just a second. I know some never alone. When we really hear what God is trying to say, listen, 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 oh listen, listen. One more. Listen, listen, listen. Let your heart lead the way. Okay, everybody, stand on up. We're going to sing Stand Up on Your Feet, Listen to Your Heartbeat. 1, 2, ready, and stand up on your feet. Listen to your heartbeat. Good. Stand up on your feet. Listen to the sound. Listen to the sound. Again, and stand up on your feet. Listen to your heartbeat. When you really feel it, listen. God is all around. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heartbeat. Hey, stand up on your feet. Listen to that sound. Oh, yeah. Stand up on your feet. You can feel your heartbeat. When you really feel and listen. When you really feel and listen. When you really feel and listen. Here we go, David. There is love, there is joy, and there's music. There is love, there is joy, there is music. There is love, there is joy, and there's God. There is God all